Top of the morning to you guys. This is the Sound Alchemist who has just woken up, has his coffee, and he's ready to go over the Codex show, the Warhammer community preview for the Necrons and the Space Marine Codices. I've already probably posted the first one, which covers the Space Marine half of the preview, and this, of course, is the Necrons. So without further ado, let's get into the reveals for the Necron half of the Codex. So of course by this time we know that the codices for the Space Marines and the Necrons will be releasing next month in October. However, their preview came hella early, and we've got some pretty nifty things to explore. So first of all, I cannot wait for this codex because the Void Dragon is going to be in here, the Silent King is going to be in here, and I can't wait to read the lore upon those two characters because those are probably the most pinnacle, most important characters for the Necrons. I don't know what they have to wait for after this, because your whole army is like unveiled, unleashed, revealed. So let's go ahead and dive into what the Warhammer community guys have posted. As always, the link to their websites will be down in the description. There's some awesome videos and whatnot, so go ahead and check that out for yourselves. But let's continue on. So let's start off with the rules for the Zeracon faction, dynasty, whatever it is you want to call them. So they have the Uncanny Artificer's special rule. And that's pretty cool because it basically gives them a 5+ feel no pain anytime a model with this code would be taking a wound as a result of a mortal wound. So that's pretty cool because usually when you take like a mortal wound, it's on a 6+, but no, their Necrodermis is a little bit tougher. On top of that, each time a unit with this code is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll a single wound roll when making that unit's attacks. This is pretty reminiscent of the Salamander traits, which lets you reroll a die. However, it's just only on the wound roll, so it's not as great, but still, that just means it's more reliable to dish out damage. And then finally, they have the last ability that states that when the protocol of the Undying Legions becomes active for your army, if every unit in your army, excluding dynastic agents and Catan shards, has this code, then you can select both of the command protocol's directives instead of just one. So that's a pretty nifty ability. Basically, if you're playing a lot more thematic, I guess, then you get a pretty huge boost, which I'm pretty sure most people will be doing that. So that's really, really cool, and hopefully we get to see some pretty interesting Necron builds. Next up, we get to see the Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant. And so the first directive, you get to add 3 inches to the range of a unit's aura abilities, up to a max of 12, and you can increase the range of the My Will Be Done Rites of Animation by 3 inches again to the max of 12. So that's pretty cool. It really helps armies that kind of huddle together. Synergy is key always, so it kind of helps push your army building towards that. And the second directive is that if this unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back, then until the end of the turn, each time a model that makes a ranged attack must subtract 1 from that attack hit roll. Still pretty cool, because again, if you fall back, usually you can't do anything else but fall back. Not anymore. You can at least still fire, albeit at a -1 ballistic skill. And they did reveal 2 new Necron Cryptex, which Cryptex have always been probably one of the more interesting Necron units in my opinion. And they've got a new ability, Counter-Temporal Nanomies, or Nanomies. I don't know how to pronounce that. So this affects your Chronomancer, and in your shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches of your Chronomancer, and until the start of your next turn, that unit has to have their advance rolls and charge rolls whenever they do the following. So I don't know why you'd use it in your shooting phase, because usually if there's a unit that's gonna charge you, you probably want to shoot that unit off the board. So I guess if like you fired all your weapons into that unit and you didn't manage to kill them, and you know they're gonna charge you, then I guess you could use that to make it ever more harder for your opponent to get into charge range. Take that, Primaris. Cool little nifty trick. Let's move on. So in the previous video I made about the Space Marines, they talked about Crusade, and this one continues on. So there's a new requisition point that allows you to do the slow decay of the self. Basically what this does is that it involves your destroyer cults. So you purchase this requisition after a battle in which your Crusade army contained one or more units of the destroyer cults. You select a lord or an overlord of that cult, you remove it, and replace it with a destroyer cult character from the same dynasty. You have to make sure it's not messing up with your power level and whatnot, but the newly added cult character has the same number of experience points. However, it gains the appropriate number of battle honors for its rank. So it's kind of an interesting ability. It's more thematic and lore centered than the Space Marine one. Well, no, I guess the Space Marine one is the same too, because you can become a dreadnought. Yeah, hands down, the Space Marine one's better. I mean, what beats becoming a dreadnought and continuing to fight after death, kind of. But anyway, let's get to the juicy stuff. Finally, 100% officially unveiled, we have the Silent King. We've seen tons of leaked images, blurry images, pixelated images, and finally we have this one here of the Silent King. First and foremost, I am a little bit let down because he just looks like a regular Necron overlord, which, I mean, he should, but he's just so basic looking as the model himself. Yeah, he's got a cool scepter. Yeah, he's got this awesome throne. Yeah, he's got a Catan shard in agony imprisoned. Yeah, he's got two obelisks surrounding him for more protection. Yeah. I don't know, I wanted him to be some intimidating looking motherfucker. The only thing intimidating about him is his flying throne with the Catan shard imprisoned upon it. Don't get me wrong, I still love the Silent King. I loved everything he stood for, the mysterious nature of him, how he's essentially the emperor for the Necrons. I can't wait to read his lore. They call him the killer of the Catan gods or something like that, so I want to read how he got that moniker. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. But now let's actually look at the stat lines for him. So this dude is pretty terrifying. I'm just looking at it. So movement 8 at 9+ wounds. Weapon skill 2 up, which of course. Ballistic skill 2 up, which of course. Strength is 5, toughness is 7. 16 wounds on this bad boy. 6 attacks, 10 leadership with a 3-up save. Kinda wanted it to be a 2-up save, but I get it. He'd be a little too tough, but hey, he's supposed to be the Emperor of the Necrons. He's supposed to be tough. The cool thing about his quote-unquote degrading stat line is that nothing changes. Nothing changes except his movement and attacks. So at 9+ wounds, movement is 8, attacks is 6. From 5 to 8 wounds, movement is 6, attacks is 4. And from 1 to 4 wound, movement is only 4 inches with 2 attacks. That's still pretty good, because I mean, weapon skill remains at a 2, ballistic skill remains at a 2, strength remains at a 5. This dude, he's gonna be pretty. he's gonna stay on the battlefield for a long, long time. Obviously, he's gonna be a bullet magnet, but hey, I mean, he is a freaking god emperor of the Necrons, the lord of the Necrons, the Silent King of the Necrons. So of course, he's gonna be a badass mamma jamma. But wait, that's not all. You also have the Triarchal Menhir, which has a movement of 8 inches, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 2, strength 5, toughness 7, 5 wounds with 1 attack each, leadership 10, save 3 up. They don't really say what exactly this is. I'm assuming it's either the pillars, which could still fire, or maybe it's the other two of his court, the speakers. So, I mean, because try obviously means 3. Men here means like, hey, dude, come here. I'm just playing. But yeah, I mean, it's they only have 5 wounds each, so I'm assuming it's those pylon things that can probably still fire. Um, we'll see once this actually gets unveiled and whatnot. But what I really wanted to know was what the hell that freaking chained Catan god can do. I guess we'll have to wait till the Codex drops. It is a preview after all. Continuing on, they also showcased the Ophidian destroyers. I don't know how you pronounce that. They look pretty cool. They look like a mixture of destroyers and wraiths. You can see their stat lines of 10-inch movement, which is very wraith-like. Weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, 4 toughness, 4 strength, 3 wounds each, 3 attacks each, 10 leadership, 4 up save. Again, they're very interesting looking models. They kind of look very fragile, like they'll break easily, but hey, I mean, they're not as fragile as that one Age of Sigmar model that just by looking at it, it'll break. But anyway, stats and everything, the data sheet will be at the link in the description, so you guys can check that out. But let's continue on to look at the new Necron flayed ones, which in my opinion are way cooler than the old ones. That's probably why the old ones didn't get an upgrade, because this was coming. And they get the ability called Flesh Hunger. Each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack against a non-vehicle unit, 6s are an additional hit. I don't know if they had that already. I feel like they might have. Still, it's cool how they still crave flesh and whatnot. They have that plague. I would have thought that by now they probably would have found a cure for the, what is it, flesh hunger plague, or so, I forgot what it's called, whatever plague it is that they got, or virus. But yeah, these Necrons look pretty nifty, but it's not over yet, guys. We still have 2 new models to look at. So let's start with the awesome Cryptex. Again, Cryptex are pretty cool looking. You've got those little drum things. They look like little drones that came in the Indomitus box set that basically act as bodyguards for Cryptex, so you could easily use them to protect these new guys that are going to be showing up in the screen. Probably 3, 2, 1, now. And here we have the Chronomancer. Of course, Chrono means time, Mancer means user, sorcerer. So basically, Chronomancers are masters of time and temporal manipulation. They have an ability called Chronometron, and let's read on to see what it does. So in your command phase, you select one friendly dynasty unit that is 9 inches of this model. Until the start of your next command phase, you can re-roll charge rolls as well, a 5-up invuln save for your models. It's cool. Definitely focuses on a more aggressive playstyle. That invuln save is really great. I like that. That's the cherry on top. Because easily they could have just been like, I work with time and I can make you guys go faster. But no, 5-up invuln save. That's pretty nifty. The model though, I love it. I really like the look of these guys. I like those little cubes with a little orb in the middle. Shapes, guys. Shapes. And we have another one. This one is a Psychomancer. Where's his legs, yo? But anyway, he works with fear, I guess. He has arcane mastery over fear itself. So basically, he channels the power of the Nightbringer, which is freaking badass. That's really cool. And he has the Nightmare Shroud Aura ability. While the enemy units are within 6 inches of this model, you subtract 1 from their leadership, as well as subtract 1 from their combat attrition tests taken for that unit. So if anybody gets near this guy, they're going to be scared. That's really cool, though. I didn't know it had to do with the Nightbringer. Cool. That's an interesting way of, like... Because when it comes to Necrons, obviously they don't have psychic powers, but Catans and the Catan shards have like abilities that are akin to psychic powers, like the powers of the Catan shard are very similar to psychic abilities. So to use them for Cryptex is pretty nifty. I wonder if they have like a tiny fragment of a shard of a katana, and that's why they're able to do this kind of thing. Again, can't wait to read the lore. I am heavily interested in the lore for the Necrons. Unfortunately, that is all the new stuff we have for today's preview. I really wish they would have shown some katana of the Void Dragon stuff, but hey, that's how they get you to buy their Codex, right? So again, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the Necrons. Let me know what you thought about the Ultramarines. Which one are you more excited for? Will you be picking up both for the lore, or you don't really care about the lore and just want to play the game? Let me know down below. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you guys then. Peace.